Why don't I socialize more? I know it's very good for you and your mental health, and I enjoy socializing. I like socializing. Most people like socializing. I am an introvert. I do enjoy my own time, and I have had extreme social anxiety in the past. It's made it difficult to make friends. My default brain is to go into a state of panic and fear with the thought of having to interact with people, even people I know, but very much strangers. Anyway, the point more so now is, why am I not socializing? I have overcome social anxiety. And I think there are about three main points that I have for me personally, and it's going to be different for other people, but for me, that why I currently do not seem to socialize that often. Now, I still have some friends that I see regularly, but I have friends that I have not seen in months and years, decades almost even. And all it would take is one message to them. And I'm sure they would be delighted to go and meet up and chat about life and what have you. And I don't do it. And yet they don't do it to me. So it's not just me. I have had lots of friends in the past. But as you get older and move away from college, where there's so much going on and so many events and other places that you interact with people, you slowly start to stop socializing as much, or I have done, at least for me and other people too. Another big one is when they get married and have kids, then their time becomes a big factor. But also, just having normal jobs, it removes your energy and your time. Unlike when you're in college, every day you're focused in the same areas and the same places, and socializing becomes a much easier thing to constantly do. There's always things going on, but it does become more difficult as you get past that. So that is one reason, is the time factor, and life gets busy, and now it's harder to get your friends on the same page, and you have to book them months in advance just to kind of try and get a time when you're all free together, because life becomes harder as you get older in that way. But that's not the big reason for me, I don't think. The bigger one for me, which is the second reason, is I have been in a place of failure for so long. And though over the last few years I have been in a better place and have been having some success, though not in the areas I would like, but at least I am making money and living in the world, not good money, but enough to live and survive on, and as a freelance designer. But I don't really care to be a designer, so that's also an identity crisis within me. But before that, I was in these years of failure, and I did not want to have to interact with people, because I would have to have these conversations of, what are you doing in life? How's life with you? And life with me was very sucky. It was really a very dark place. I was at the bottom of an ocean, drowning, and having octopuses strangle me, and cannonballs chained to my legs to stop me moving. And I was there for a very long time. And so I did not want to interact with people. I hated when other people would be around and have to talk to me and ask me about my life. And I would always avoid that. And so I didn't want to go to my friends. And now your friends, of course, would be, as they are your friends, supportive to you. And I had some friends that I would see regularly enough, and they would know about these things. But even then, you try and put on a brave face and tell the positives and don't overly go into the negative side of things. But I think, I was depressed essentially, and I didn't want to socialize and have uncomfortable conversations with people. And I'm still somewhat in that behavior. I always thought, when I'm successful, when I have something to show for myself, I guess, then I would make the effort to go and reconnect with people and go out and make new friends. And yet here I am. Now I don't really have much to show for myself, though. At least I'm not in such a bad, terrible state of failure anymore. But I am not in a place that I want to be, I guess, so I don't make that effort. And I should do, but I know I don't. And so that is a big reason, this emotional uncomfortable conversations I would have to have with people, though it would no longer be that uncomfortable, but I still am not doing it. So that's my second reason. And the third big reason is the effort. I've become so lazy to leave my house. I don't want to go places. Like, it takes me an hour to get to the city, into Dublin, and an hour back. So if I was going to go and meet, and there's loads of social activities going on with strangers, and I could go meet new people. And then when you're meeting new people, those uncomfortable conversations are much easier to navigate because you can, one, brush over the dark side part of it, and they don't have this huge baggage that they have seen you in the place of failure for so long. So it's easier to go over that. But like when you see your friends over and over and you're always in a really bad place, you feel like you're a burden and a drain on them. And also like you feel like you're constantly in failure, and that doesn't look good. It's not nice to be that. And pathetic, you feel pathetic, that you have not been able to get over that place. Sorry, I've gone back to the previous point. I'm still trying to express how it feels. But yeah, the patheticness of it. And when I looked in the mirror at myself, I did not like being pathetic, and the judgment, not that they were judging you in a sake, but like there's an element of like, he's a bit pathetic in life at the moment, and that was true. So, you're trying to avoid that. And then back to the third point, being the effort. An hour there, an hour back is a lot for me now. If people text me and say they want to meet up, or I want to go and see somebody, maybe sometimes I do see some of my college friends and we meet up in town, or last week I saw my girlfriend in the city, and I went to see her, and, we meet up and go in the city and you do fun things, and it's great, but it is an effort, and I hate the bus. Again, the bus, I used to drive into the city often because that would, one, be quicker and easier for me to get in there, and then two, I wouldn't drink, so it would be cheaper, and then I could drive home, and it would save a lot of the effort. But now with petrol prices and traffic is just so bad these days that I dread even doing that. And yeah, so the effort of going and socialising has become enough of a burden. I'm sure if it was beside my house, I would go more regularly, and we have a closer town that is easier for me to get to, but it's less of a hub for social activity. But I'm sure there are events and stuff that I could go to there, but I still don't bother to go and make new friends. Really, I don't think it's a priority for me in life, even though I do enjoy it and want it to be at some point in the near future. But the effort of going to, and when I was in Canada, I used to live in Canada for a bit, and I also lived in France for a while, just a few months actually in France, so not that long, but I know I have it in me to go and make friends, because I went out there and I made the effort to go and make friends. And in Canada, it was easy enough. I was still finding my feet to being in a completely new space, but everybody spoke English. I was in Montreal, so they actually spoke French and English, but there was enough English around there that it wasn't a problem. But it was in France, in Montpellier, the English speaking word became much less, so it was actually more difficult to make friends, but not so uncommon that I could find people. And I did put in a huge amount of effort to try and make friends and socialise and go out and meet people and make connections. And so I know I can do it, but it's easier when you're in a completely new city. Everything feels exciting and alive, and you're trying to make that effort to do it. But here, when you're at home, I guess it just feels, or you move back into your old behavioural patterns and your old habits, or I do, and so then I disconnect from doing those things. And so many friends groups I've had when I was in my early 20s, I've completely I haven't seen those guys in so long, like 10 years or whatever. And yeah, that is what it is. Anyway, I know I need to do it more and put more effort into going and socialising and reconnecting with people. I probably won't do it after this video, but I am aware of it. And that is something. Anyway, thanks for listening. Wish me luck.